let's just assume that Bitcoin goes sideways
Right.
for the next few weeks, and Cardano just basically catches up, then 60% from here could indicate a Cardano price at $2.3 approximately in the next like few weeks or so.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap gets you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.io.
Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest crypto channel in all the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like money in crypto, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget to check the video description for details on how you could win a full Bitcoin. In this video, I brought on Carl from the Moon channel on YouTube to discuss Cardano. He's going to be showing us from the technical perspective whether or not Cardano is about to blow. And if you hold ADA, I think you're going to like this interview. Hey guys, I'm joined again this week by Carl from the Moon channel. And Bitcoin has been doing crazy stuff we want to talk about, but we specifically today want to talk about Cardano and what its future is going to look like in the short term and maybe the longer term. So Carl, as always, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me on the channel. It's always so much fun to do some TA on your channel and see the comments below your videos of people enjoying these collaborations, because I think people enjoy watching these collaborations just as much as we enjoy making them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I don't know if people know this. We really do like getting together and talking. I mean, you know, when you're doing crypto YouTube, you know, you're working so much, it's good to actually see people and talk to them. So yeah, and guys, don't forget, make sure to subscribe to Carl's channel if you're not. The Moon, you guys can get that video, that link down below. So let's just go ahead and start. Like, the big news of the week right now is Cardano getting listed on Coinbase and what that could potentially mean. I figured it would be good to bring you on and have you show some TA on Cardano.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people are talking about it right now, and everyone wants to know, is it going to go higher or lower? So I prepared some interesting things in the chart, so I think we should head straight into the charts right now. All right, guys, so here we start off on the daily time frame with Cardano against the US dollar, and we can see that Cardano formed this small falling wedge that broke out, and we also saw a falling wedge in the RSI on the daily time frame. So here on the daily, we saw a breakout essentially, and the target was already met on in the price. But if you were to believe in the ultimate target in this falling wedge in the RSI, then it looks like we might have some more momentum to the upside, because the target is the top of the wedge, which would be slightly higher than we are right now in the RSI. And you could also make the case that this falling wedge is a little bit higher like this, and in that case we can maybe expect an even higher reading in the RSI. So in my opinion, again, according to the RSI, it is possible that we might go even higher here. I think we haven't seen the full move just yet.
No, nice.
Yeah. And I would also like to just zoom out a little bit on the weekly time frame here, because the reason why we're seeing these big movements, on the weekly time frame, not on the daily, but on the weekly here, we've seen many multiple weeks of massive price action. It's because we broke this very key green resistance down here at like 18 cents approximately. And everyone who's a subscriber of my channel, you guys remember how we were perfectly trading here, because when you break long-term resistance, that's usually a point to pay attention. And by long-term, I mean that the last time we tested this level was way back here in 2018. So that's when you really want to pay attention. And then we broke this other very key resistance, which also was significant ever since way back in 2018. So ever since we broke this key resistance, we've seen a massive run up. And this is Cardano against the US dollar on the weekly time frame. Now, of course, everyone wants to know, because it looks like we're going to just blast above all-time high now. That seems to be the case. But the question is, how is Cardano going to do against Bitcoin, right? That's what everyone wants to know. So let's go over to this chart. In my opinion,
and just so everybody understands, the reason why this is important is because if your coin cannot outperform Bitcoin, then that would mean you might as well have just bought Bitcoin. So understanding the relationship, between the US dollar value and then the Bitcoin value is extremely important.
extremely important, because yeah, everyone knows that the risk in Bitcoin is lower.
Yes.
So if your altcoin even performs equally as Bitcoin, you're still taking a lower risk by buying Bitcoin. So essentially your coin has to vastly outperform Bitcoin for it to be worth it to hold that altcoin, in my opinion.
Yes. Agreed.
But yeah, so that's what we're looking at here. And zooming in, we can see that we also broke a very long-term key resistance here as well. This downwards trending resistance. And actually on my channel, we made a nice trade here because we broke this resistance. And what we're seeing right now, if I bring out the Fibonacci, no, the exponential ribbon. This is the exponential ribbon on the daily time frame. We can see that we got a very beautiful bounce off of this here. And usually I'm using this this indicator in bull runs and in bear trends, because it usually acts as support and it usually acts as resistance. And as long as we ride this support, we remain in a bull trend. And we did get a beautiful bounce off of here. So we are remaining bullish here on the daily time frame, even though we saw a pretty substantial correction here.
Yeah.
The full correction was actually something like 45% or so.
Wow.
But when you zoom out and take a look at it like this, you can see that we actually bounced off of key daily support. And the question is, of course, are we going to continue to head higher? And as of right now, I don't have any reason to believe that we're not going to go higher. It really seems like we are in a clear uptrend. You can see that we have higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. The question is, where's this high going to go? Obviously, if we see something like this, then that would be slightly bearish, showing us a lower high, indicating that maybe we're going to see a reversal. But obviously, the bear or the bullish scenario would be that we come up and we blast above the previous high here, getting a new higher high, because that would further solidify this uptrend that we clearly have established here on the daily time frame. So, in my opinion, Cardano is looking very healthy against Bitcoin. Going back here to the on the weekly time frame, we can see that Cardano also has a lot of room to potentially grow. So the all-time high on the Bitcoin against the Bitcoin was all the way up here. I mean, let's just play with the numbers. Let's say we were to go up there from where we are now. That would be another like 260%. So like only to go back to all-time highs, 260% pump from here would be needed. But in my opinion, that's not my target. I'm not targeting those levels. I will show you what my target is. So ever since we entered in here over my channel, we've been in this trade, and this up here is my ultimate target. We had a partial take profit, of course, down here, but the ultimate target is all the way up here at 0.000410.
Such a tiny number.
I don't like these Satoshi numbers. It's easier with Bitcoin.
I know, right?
Dollars. But yeah, so essentially, to make it simple, if we were to reach the targets from where we are right now, that would be approximately a 66% pump or 66% increase in price. Now, this doesn't mean that we have to go there in the next couple of days, but in the next few weeks or months, I think that it's very likely that Cardano is going to potentially reach these levels, because we are in this very well-established trend. We broke all of these key resistance levels, and Bitcoin is going bullish right now. So there's no huge bear market in sight. I mean, everyone remembers 2018-17 here when the bear market came in and we saw all altcoins collapse. So far, we haven't seen any initiation of a big bear market. So in my opinion, it makes sense to assume that altcoins are going to perform pretty much the same as Bitcoin or better, but essentially kind of do whatever Bitcoin does. So now that Bitcoin is going up and still remains bullish, I'm bullish on altcoins generally.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this question, because this is something that I want to know. And so I would think that my audience would want to know it as well, which is when you're studying the chart of like Cardano versus Bitcoin, or let's say Ethereum versus Bitcoin, do you find that chart is just as reliable as the value against US dollar?
I think that the most successful analysis that I've been able to make has been on the Bitcoin relative chart. So
Interesting.
Cardano against Bitcoin or Ethereum against Bitcoin. Well, Ethereum actually has been very accurate on the US dollar chart, but smaller altcoins generally, the lower the cap, I think generally, the more I tend to stick to just the Bitcoin relative chart, because it seems to be more accurate. I'm not sure why. It just seems to be. I mean, support and resistance seems to make sense, and all the patterns that break out, they do whatever I expect them to do.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I would expect it to be the other way. So studying the coin to Bitcoin chart is not something we do a huge amount on my channel. We more focus on the US dollar because we're looking, of course, mostly at Bitcoin and Ethereum. But as some of these other projects are moving, very far ahead, like Cardano and Binance Coin, it definitely makes sense to, I think, add that element so people have something else to check out. And so
I must say the Ethereum chart against Bitcoin, I think, is very accurate. I think I've been looking at it a lot, and I've been making fantastic trades over there. So Ethereum against US dollar, I've had no troubles with that one. But I think it is generally when you just go lower down the market caps, that's when you can find troubles potentially.
Yeah. Okay. So last question, going back to the Cardano to US dollar chart, what is a target that you're looking at in the short term for where Cardano can go?
So against Bitcoin, like I said, we have this level. That's my Cardano target, and that's for the next few weeks or so. Now, like I said, it's like a 60% pump. If we were to assume, let's just assume that Bitcoin goes sideways for the next few weeks, and Cardano just basically catches up, then 60% from here could indicate a Cardano price at $2.3 approximately in the next few weeks or so.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I wouldn't say that this is like based on like classic technical analysis. I wouldn't say that I would trade based on that. But I do believe that we're seeing hype around Cardano. I do believe we're seeing a strong uptrend, and the trend is your friend. Yeah. And simply playing a little bit with the numbers here, it sure looks like $2 could be hit very soon. And let's just say I'm bullish on Cardano right now on the daily time frame and on the weekly time frame, and actually all the smaller time frames as well, as of right now as we're recording this.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that's if Bitcoin goes sideways. If Bitcoin were to go up to $70,000 or $80,000 during this next few weeks, like many people think that it could, then that means Cardano could get over $3 probably. So that would definitely be a bullish target, I think. So, Carl, as always, thank you for joining the channel today and showing us this TA. You've given me a lot of stuff to look at and my audience as well. So everybody, make sure to go on over to Carl's channel, subscribe. The link is down below. Anything you want to leave us with today, Carl?
I think that everyone should keep accumulating Bitcoin. I think people should definitely keep having some exposure to altcoins, but be a little bit more cautious when you're doing altcoins, because you have a lot of upside, but you also have a lot of downside, of course. Right. But yeah, be safe out there and have fun trading these charts, because I sure have a lot of fun doing it.
All right, guys, that's all we got for today. Make sure to drop your comments down below. Be blessed. Good boy out.